What's up, guys? Welcome to the Nifty Experience. I'm Preston. Over here's my main man, Jeremy. How you doing?
Good. How about you?
Doing good. So, what do you want to talk about today?
So today we are going to talk about rebranding. So we have several examples of some big rebrands, some rebrands that are pretty big, some rebrands that did a good job, some smaller rebrands, and then some that just didn't miss the mark. So we're going to show y'all some examples of that today.
For sure. And you know what doesn't need a rebrand?
What's that?
The like button. Yes. Once you hit that like button, we can go right into talking about these rebrands. I'll wait. Awesome. So, what rebrand are we going to talk about first?
So the first one that everybody should be aware of is 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven has done a rebrand, but it's one that you're not going to quite notice that much. Really, the only thing that sometimes a rebrand, you don't really need to change everything that much. Sometimes the smallest change makes the biggest impact. And so what 7-Eleven did was they brought themselves to a modernized time where they basically just only changed the font in their logo. They did an all caps before they did an all caps logo, or all caps font in the logo, and they just switched it to all lowercase. And I would think the reasoning behind that is to be more family friendly, to be more than just a gas station, or, to have that family friendly feel. And it does go along with the trends of many logos that have all lowercase fonts, like Spotify or other things. Like a lot of technology companies have that same trend. So 7-Eleven took that suit and really just changing the font, getting rid of colors, making it a little bit more minimal, but still keeping the same 7 that everybody knows.
It's iconic.
Just those little changes make a big difference, and you can tell now that once you notice it, you're able to see it a lot more.
Exactly. Yeah, and they also did just a slight variation to the primary green as well. And what's really interesting is that, whenever this is a business that has 12,000 retail locations all over the world, it takes a whole lot to kind of roll everything out. So what they did, so 7-Eleven is based in the Dallas area, and they started out with some evolution stores. So they did several experiments where they rolled out this new logo, this new branding within their store. They changed the storefront as well. It looks a lot more modern, more clean. And after they started doing that in 2019, they've been gradually rolling it out across all their other locations as well. And I don't know if you've ever noticed it while you're driving around.
And so 7-Eleven is a franchise program. So not all of the franchises have the new logo yet. So you will notice some that have the old, some that have the new. And it's nice to actually see the difference. Now that you pay attention to it, you can see the difference between the two stores that have the two different brands, and it's actually really cool. It's really cool
I think it's awesome. I think that they've done a fantastic job with it. And with a company this size, it takes a while to roll out a rebrand like this to have it global. So it's going to be something really cool to see over the next couple of years.
And I think it's a really smart idea that they tested it with the first couple of stores. Because again, big national brand, you want to test out those things. So where if you have the opportunity to, test it out. So make sure if it works. If you have that opportunity, do it.
Absolutely. Do you want to move on to the next brand that we're going to talk about?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so this one I love. I think that they took a classic design, really a homage to their original design, and just knocked it out of the park. And that's Burger King.
Yes.
I personally don't really go to Burger King much, but whenever I saw that they created this, I was like, okay, I have to see this for myself. This is fantastic. So if you think about their old logo, it looked very kind of plasticky and kind of synthetic in a sense. And Burger King put out their first rebrand in over 20 years and brought a retro kind of feel to it, and just did a phenomenal job.
No, they definitely knocked us out of the park. With just the logo in itself, doing a very similar trend of, making logos minimal. And they took away the action of Burger King. They basically just made it simple, where it's Burger King, it's burgers. But also along with the logo, the rebranding comes with the imagery. So they redid their imagery, they redid their packaging again, and they redid their storefronts too.
Yep, exactly. And what I really like is that on all their burgers and sandwiches and all that stuff, they have like these, they added like melty, juicy, tasty with this really kind of retro 70s typeface. And it's just awesome. They refine their colors as well.
Yep.
You don't really see a lot of companies really own brown.
Yep.
The only other brand that I can think of is UPS.
Yep.
And if you look at their new uniforms, they're taking brown polos, and you have kind of like that red, orange, and white, and really bringing it all together and makes it looks really cool.
I love the illustrations. I love the imagery. And I think one thing that they really tried to focus on is everybody can come to Burger King. You know, they use illustrations of hands of different colors, of, you know, different skin colors to create a community with Burger King. And I think they knocked it out of the park because personally, yes, just like what you said, I don't really go to Burger King that much, but now that I've seen the rebrand, it's phenomenal, and whoever worked on it did a phenomenal job.
I think they rolled it out at the start of 2021, and since then I've probably been to Burger King like 3 or 4 times, which that's probably more than I've been in the last 5 or 6 years. So hats off to you,
Yes,
Burger King.
Burger King,
well done.
Great job.
So you just want to do a little bit of a lightning round of some other
Yeah,
rebrands.
yeah.
So one that I thought was really cool was GoDaddy.
Yes.
So if you look at the old one, very simple typeface, green lettering, just says GoDaddy. Nothing spectacular, but with this new design, they went black with it. They created a heart with G and O, and I thought that they just did a phenomenal job with it.
Well, in GoDaddy, I like the way that GoDaddy has been, you know, changing their brand over time. Because I don't know if you remember when they first started out, GoDaddy definitely seemed like when I first heard of GoDaddy, I thought it was like something about sexual, because they always
because the commercial.
It was always the commercial with the hot women and stuff, and I was like, GoDaddy, what is that?
Yeah.
And then they switched to the green, where it was more family friendly. Green means technology. And then now with the GoDaddy, with the black and with the mark, it definitely shows that they are a web hosting company. And they definitely go all in on that. And again, I host websites on GoDaddy as well, and they do a great job, and it's very clean. They definitely went into the modern just feel with their new rebrand, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, and on that note, all these brands that we're talking about, they've gone real minimalist, and I think we're going to see this trend over the next several years.
Yes.
Because there's definitely a cycle with it.
Yes.
You go minimalist, and then you want to go very bold and out there, and then we go back minimalist. So we're in a minimalist phase right now.
Oh, no, we definitely are, because, I mean, especially from the 90s, early 2000s, they're busy. You know, going back to the Burger King logo, they wanted to show the action with the blue swoop around the Burger King logo, but they brought it back to minimal. A lot of companies are going back to a minimal design because that's the trend these days, and that's what people like. But as trends will change, just like what you said, it'll change, and you know, the goal is to create a brand that will stick throughout. But that's the challenge, and you get what you pay for, and the professionals know how to create logos or brands that will last throughout the lifetime.
Dude, you're spot on with that. I think you hit it on the head, and here's another more minimalist one that I thought that they did a great job with, and this one also had the very bold and out there kind of logo, is Popeyes.
Yep.
If you look at the typeface of Popeyes from before, very bubbly and just kind of fun, and they still keep a sense of the bubbliness, but it's straight. You don't have any variation in the height of the letters, and you have a very minimalist chicken. And you know, I think that it's done really well.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it gives off, just like what you said, it gives off the same kind of feel. And this is one of those situations where less is more. You know, there's some times where a company wants to put everything that they do into their branding, into their logo, and try to say so much that when you try to say so much, your audience is like, what are you doing? What are you? And so when you bring it down minimal while still keeping the same features that make you who you are, that's where you really do an excellent job. So the Popeyes, just the font itself, it still keeps that friendly feel, and it still gives off Louisiana chicken.
Absolutely. Yeah, it keeps the original heart behind it, which I think is really cool. So, important question for you.
What's that?
Chicken sandwich. Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
Ooh, I gotta go with Popeyes. I'm a Popeyes.
Really?
I'm a Popeyes, yep. I gotta go with Popeyes. What about you?
Fired.
Well, I'll just leave now.
No, okay, so the chicken sandwich is really good. I've had it once, and I thought it was great. But I haven't tried to go back since then.
Yeah.
And Chick-fil-A is also just a little bit too convenient where I live.
Right.
So that's
Right.
the other side of it as well.
Right.
And
No.
there's also someone who worked at Chick-fil-A for 4 years.
Oh, really? Yeah. So, no, but at the end of the day, I think they did a really good job, and I think they made a good mark also as well. So with everything together, I think they did it all in a good job.
Absolutely. All right, let's have some fun. Let's talk about some brands that didn't do so well.
Didn't hit the mark.
Let's talk about minimalists. There's one that really stuck out to me that did not do a good job with it, and that's BMW.
Yeah. They, I mean, I get what they were going for, but from my perspective, just from my personal perspective, as being such a high class vehicle company, the minimal approach just wasn't enough for me. It just I don't know, it's just too basic. It's just not enough.
I get that. I mean, so to me, whenever I think of a minimalist logo that does a fantastic job, that's Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes is an example of a company that its brand will last over time because of how simple it is. I don't know if any of you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, but we posted up recently what makes a great logo. And being able to look at a logo and to look away and just to memorize that logo like that, if you're able to look at it, look away, and redraw it, Mercedes has perfected that.
That's a good word.
That's an example of one that will last over time.
And, so I will give BMW a little bit of credit. If you look at their logo historically, they are trying to bring it back to the original logo from about 100 years ago.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of that with it. I did a little bit of my own research, and in a lot of their old advertisements, you had a plain propeller, and above the propeller that was going, you had BMW around it.
Okay.
Which I found really interesting. So they were trying to, I think they were trying to bring it back to its original roots, but I think they went a little bit too minimalist with it.
Yeah, and that certainly happens. You tread the lines of what works, what doesn't. And you know what? Sometimes with the rebrand, when it first initially comes out, the reaction really isn't that great and people don't like it. But then it stays, and over time it's like, okay, that actually works. So it could be an example of one that maybe over time, with the way that they build it out, it may work, because there's obviously strategy behind rebranding. So they may have a plan behind it.
Absolutely.
And especially if they're taking that much thought into trying to bring back the history, they may have an identity system to go along with the new rebrand. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. At the moment, I think it's not the best, not the worst, but it could be better. But we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. And these next three that we're going to talk about, they tend to lean a little bit more so on the worst side.
On the worst, yeah.
So, yeah. Dave & Buster's.
It's bad.
It's really bad.
It's bad.
Like, if you take a good look at it, like, you have to, like, really squint your eyes and really try and see where it starts.
It's bad. So another part of that same social media post that I mentioned, your logo needs to be able to be used in different formats, whether it's a big format like a Dave & Buster's sign outside of its restaurant, or a small Dave & Buster's logo on a business card. And you would not be able to read it. You would be able to read Ave Usters if it's on a small business card. I mean,
Ave Usters.
Ave Usters. I mean, you can't. I mean, you can hardly see the D. I mean, from my perspective, it went way too minimal, and it took away the kind of fun that you have at Dave and Buster's in a way. I think it's too minimal that it's. I mean, the logo before, it had fun in it.
It did. It said that it was fun. This, it's
It's kind of even hard to explain what it is because it really just didn't hit the mark. It really just.
It missed it pretty bad.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Let's talk about Smuckers.
Yeah.
The old logo just felt timeless, and what they did, they tried to bring an abstract, minimalist kind of feel to it, where like you knew that was a strawberry. But I can't really tell what the green might be. I can't really think of it. But this feels like a bad attempt at a Fruit of the Loom logo.
Now that you mentioned Fruit of the Loom, I'm like, yep, that's definitely Fruit of the Loom. And I mean, and I understand the attempt. The original Smuckers logo, to some, may have been a little outdated. From my personal perspective, I would have maybe just cleaned it up a little bit. Maybe keep the same format. Keep the same format, keep the original strawberries. Maybe update the typeface. But really, it was kind of one of those things, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
But with the way that they updated it, they tried to go too modern and too abstract. And sometimes that works, but in this situation, I don't think it worked at all. I mean, I see a strawberry, but I mean, again, if I didn't know what Smuckers was, I'd have no idea.
They went too corporate with it. They got rid of Smuckers as a whole. Now it's just the JM Smucker Co.
Yeah, and it's
not good.
No, it just doesn't work.
Unfortunately, the last one that we're going to talk about.
The last one we want to talk about is kind of close to both of us because we're soccer fans, and it is Columbus Crew.
Or Columbus SC.
Columbus SC. Oh, they just released it this week, and it missed the mark. It was one of those things that when the Crew was created, it was one of for those that don't know, the Columbus Crew was one of the original teams whenever Major League Soccer was created back in 1996. And with the logo, they had probably one of the most unique logos.
Oh, it was so good.
One of the most unique logos and brands just out of sports and out of really in corporate in general, because it showed that they're going to be the hardest working team, which goes back to their community of being a hard working community that works together. And with the way that they updated it, they followed the trend of other teams to try to go minimal, and they made a G that doesn't really look like a G, and they initially got rid of the Crew, and they named it as Columbus SC. For those that don't know, SC means soccer club, and it just completely got rid of their old brand. It didn't keep any of their originality, to the point where the fans even sat down with the club and said, "We are the Crew." And now, just today, they changed it back to the Crew, but they kept the same logo, so they had to even, kind of cooperate with the fans.
And so a big thing with marketing is listening to your audience. And I think that's something that gets missed a whole lot. And Columbus Crew fans went through a very similar situation a couple of years ago, where the owner was trying to move the team out of Columbus, and
they were trying to move them down to Austin.
They're trying to move them down to Austin, yes. So there's this whole campaign to save the Crew, which they ultimately ended up doing.
Well,
and they saved the Crew, and then the new ownership that came in did not listen to their fans and tried to change everything up again, which Columbus fans once again were resilient and were able to kind of salvage a bad situation. And I think that honestly the new logo sucks.
Yeah, it really does. It sucks.
So I actually like the old logo. So the logo in between the original one that was talked about and the current one, there's another logo that had kind of a regal kind of feel to it. And I liked it. I thought that it was a good logo. I still miss the original one, but this one it's so far away from the original heart and soul of Columbus.
Yeah, and it's been a big reaction from both the soccer community around the world, honestly, because again, as being one of the original teams in 1996, they just won the Major League Soccer championship too, and then to change that after everything that they've been through, if I was a fan, it's just a slap in the face. I mean, honestly.
For sure. Yeah, man, I think there's a lot to take away out of this, and I think the biggest thing is to listen to your audience and make sure that the heart behind the company or the organization is still intact. And, I think that's something that we as creatives need to make sure that we do whenever we are working with a company.
Absolutely. And for those who are watching, take these examples, and if you are thinking of a rebrand, think a little bit about, again, your audience, think about your values, think about what makes you as an individual company and what makes you stand out. And so sometimes you really don't need to change that much to have a good, efficient rebrand. Sometimes you do need an overhaul, but a lot of the times you don't. You have your values that make who you are, and you can still excel on that while bringing a new look, but without creating it something brand new. Again, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Absolutely. And if there's any logos or brands that we missed that you thought were either fantastic or completely missed the mark, drop it in the comments below. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and make sure that you hit that notification bell so that way you can stay in the loop with what we're doing. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.